Hello there. Well, this is the numerology of the Queen, or some of the numerology of the Queen. Obviously, there would be a lot of it. And numerology goes way, way, way back. And there's a couple of variations of it, Pythagorean and Chaldean. A lot of this is Chaldean only because I started from reading a book when I was a kid. My dad had on his bookshelf Cheryl's Book of Numbers. It's the very old original 1968 version. So I've taken this with me for all my life basically, and just read bits in at times and was very interested in it from a young age. And I used to just look up at the ways of making my name resonate with me as a person by changing it a little bit. I didn't actually change my name, but with the Queen and her numerology, I just sort of came to the realization that I needed to do this when I realized that she and Princess Diana shared numerology for their dates of birth. And that, what I mean by that is the numbers that are all added together and the figure that you get at the end of the date of birth. Now with the Queen, hers is the 21st of April 1926. And I'll go into what that means, for the numerology of a date of birth. But at birth, she was born Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor. And I decided I would add up all the digits of her name because that's another way of doing numerology for somebody. And the digits of her name came out for Elizabeth was 33, which is a master number. Alexandra is 27/9 because 2 plus 7 is 9. And Mary is 8. And Windsor is 28. 28 breaks down to a 10, breaks down to a 1. Now, if you add all the digits of that date of birth together, and I do it in a specific way, which we'll probably put up on the screen, we get 51. And 51 in the book that I was showing you before, it says this: it's a very potent, powerful number, symbolizes the warrior. So that's for the Queen, and sudden advancement, and favourable for naval, military, plus all leaders. So obviously the Queen would have been a warrior over a lifetime because she kept going and going and going, trying to keep the family and the monarchy going. She also had sudden advancement because she didn't start out where she was, going to be queen. She was quite a long way down the list. And it was only because, of course, her uncle abdicated that her father actually became king. So, yeah, she actually advanced to that position. And she did become a leader, actually, for 70 years. But also with that, there's possible enemies and danger. So perhaps all the way through her reign, she would have, found that there were difficulties where she had to just be careful about people not wanting the monarchy to stay on the throne. But she had that name, and of course she was known by a different name when she became queen. It was just literally Queen Elizabeth II, and I'll go into that and the numbers later. So perhaps that was for her earlier life, the actual full name of and date of birth. And then Queen Elizabeth II took over, the name for that took over later in life. It wasn't that much later because she was only in her 20s, obviously, when she became queen. With that, the 33 in the Elizabeth name, when I looked up, fortunate for assistance from those in high rank. Also for gain through love and the opposite sex. Well, she did marry for love, and she did marry somebody that was very much her soulmate, if you like, somebody who would look after her and be there for her all of her life, apart from when he died the year before. And you get gain through love and the opposite sex with that number. So the Alexandra in her name, 27-9. Now 27 is the scepter. Now the scepter was one of those, parts of that, the monarchy have, as symbolism. Not sure what they symbolise exactly, but it's one of the symbolisms of monarchy. And, they get the orb and the sceptre when they're crowned. And Mary, it was an 8. 8 is usually advancement to do with monetary or material gain and to do with stability and security. Sometimes it's a difficult number though, number 8, that it's not easy to keep that stability, not easy to be a person who does keep hold of that money and advancement and security. And with the Windsor, that's a 28, 10, 1. Well, 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, so it should be actually a good number. And the 1 is symbolising the leader. The 28, it has a lot of contradictions where things can come and go, so it's kind of like you have to keep starting over and over again. Sometimes you can lose certain things, lose your stability and then regain it. Now, it would probably seem to everybody that the monarchy would have kept all the stability, but some of it would have come and gone, throughout the ages because, things had to change and they had to let go of certain things and make it a bit smaller over the years. So that would probably be something to do with that, although this is her name at birth. And, the Windsor name did actually live on. It was mixed with Mountbatten later though, I think. When she got married, she had Mountbatten Windsor, some of the younger ones, the younger royals. And, the 51, which her birth name adds up to, breaks down to 5 + 1 = 6. And 6 is service to others, especially looking after loved ones, family, feeling that they must be the provider of love and stability to those people. And later on, this probably goes for service to the people of the United Kingdom and beyond, of course, when she was queen. So this 6 has a very important meaning as well. Right, we'll go on to the date of birth here, 21st of April 1926. Now, if you add up the 21, 2 + 1 is 3. And the 21 as a number is the universe in the tarot. So you've got the crown of the Magi. Advancement, honours, elevation and general success in life. So that's a good number for her to have got. And victory after a long fight for the crown of the Magi. After long initiations and tests of determination. So it wouldn't have been an easy come-by number. She would have had to, perhaps in her younger life, she had to look after all the other people around her, or felt like she did. And as time went on and she became queen, she of course got the honours of being ranked number 1, basically. And this was, part of the 21, but also she would have had to work away towards that. She had to work very hard to not to become queen, but to sustain that throughout her life. It wasn't something that I think most people would actually want to do. You have to really, it's not just a job, is it? Let's be honest. It's something that, you have to live day in, day out. So yeah, that's the universe. And the number 3 that the 21 breaks down to relates to being happy and fun and laughter. Now we know that the Queen had quite a good funny sense of humour, and she might have appeared quite stern at times, but underneath it all she liked a good belly laugh, and she did have a good sense of humour apparently. So that would be the number 3, but also with the number 3, it relates to lightening serious situations up as well. And it's the recipient is good at and likely to work well as a team. So she would have been a good team player as a person. But also she had her own unique talents. Obviously, being leader was one of them. So that was the 21 in her date of birth. So 21st of April, she was born in April. And the April number is a number 4, which is stability, security, putting things in boxes, and needing to have that stability and security around you a lot. So she would like to have a lot of fun and laughter in her life, but she would also need that stability around her to feel good about herself, to feel secure. And with a 1926, that adds up to an 18 stroke 9. 8 plus 1 is 9. 18 in the tarot is the moon card. So the 18-9, the 18 stands for symbolism of a rayed moon from which drops of blood are falling. A wolf and a hungry dog are seen below catching the falling drops of blood in their opened mouths, while still lower a crab is seen hastening to join them. It is symbolic of materialism striving to destroy the spiritual side of the nature. It generally associates a person with bitter quarrels, even family ones. Also with war, social upheavals, revolutions, and in some cases it indicates making money and position through wars or by wars. Wow. Well, some of that sort of stands for perhaps not what just went on while she was on the throne, but in previous generations to do with the monarchy. You know, there's a lot of those sorts of things like war, social upheaval, revolutions, treachery and deception. And then when we add the full date of birth together, it turns out to be a 16 stroke 7, because 6 plus 1 is 7. And the 16 is in the tarot, and also in this book here is the Tower or Shattered Citadel. And this, I'll read it. This number has the most peculiar occult symbolism. It is pictured by a tower struck by lightning from which a man is falling with a crown on his head. It's also called the Shattered Citadel. It gives warning of some strange fatality waiting. If it appears as a compound number relating to the future, it is a warning sign that should be carefully noted, and plans made in advance in endeavour to avert its fatalistic tendency. Well, I'm thinking here, because that was a date of birth, that it was sudden that she became queen out of nowhere, basically, because she wasn't brought into the world and the parents weren't thinking she was going to be queen at that stage. So I feel that that was the fatalistic tendency there with the queen. Also, the 6 plus 1 equals 7, so that is her life path number. And this is a spiritual person. It symbolises Neptune, which is the underworld, or the moon, significantly to do with water. And individuality, originality, restlessness, change, travel, interested in far-off lands. You know, a lot of this makes a lot of sense, really, for the Queen Elizabeth. Also, this person cares little for the material, and if wealthy, gives to charitable donations and institutions. So she would have actually kept she actually did work a lot for charity, obviously having a lot of wealth. And the institution, the biggest institution, was the royal family itself, which they used to call the institution, didn't they? This describes her really, really well, her life. Now, along with the 16 for her date of birth, I noticed at least, could be more, two other numbers to add up in her, life that became also the 16, 7. And the first one was she became queen on the 6th of February 1952 when her father died. And those numbers added together create the 16, 7. Again, the Tower. Obviously, she fatalistically became queen as soon as her dad died. I mean, at that time, they were knowledgeable about the fact that she would become queen, because he had become king, but apparently she didn't really know how sick he really was. He kept it to himself. So she would have been in shock at that time that he died, obviously very upset. And so, you know, the tower came down, everything fell, she became queen. She just had to suddenly pick up where he'd left off, very young, and, you know, I've got tingles all over, needing to just pick it all up and do it. She probably wouldn't have had any time to mourn either, which is quite sad, really. And so that was a 16/7 time. And also, she didn't die on a 16/7, but her funeral was 16/7. It was, of course, the 19th of September 2022. We have with that, you have a 16 for the tower. The 19 becomes a 10 or a 1. And the 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. And the number 1 is leader, so she was obviously leader. 9 is endings, and 2022 adds up to a 6. So actually the numbers in there, you know, the 6 is her needing to look after and to be of service. She was of service, she was the leader, and this was her ending, so to speak. So it kind of makes a bit of sense to me that the numbers in that funeral. And also, she was married on the 20th of November 1947 to Philip, and this was also a 16/7. So when you get a fatalistic number like that, it carries on sometimes. There must have been other numbers that I haven't found, you know, that actually added up to a 16/7 dates that were specifically something special to her, perhaps, that during her reign or during her lifetime, that would have added up to 16/7, because it seems to happen over and over again. When you get these fatalistic numbers, they tend to go in more than one, you know, quite a few of them. So there was at least 3 of those in her lifetime. Now, when she married Prince Philip on the 20th of November, the numbers there, the 20 is the judgment. It is the 11 is a master number, which breaks down to a 2, which Philip was a life path number 11. And 1947 becomes 21/3, which it must have been quite a joyful time for her when she got married. It would have been, wouldn't it? But the 21/3 is like her date of birth, you know, the 21 her date of birth, so it must have been a wonderful time for her. But also the number 2s there, it's kind of symbolises the fact that they were coming together as, you know, there was a lot of love there, and that they were soulmates, perhaps even twin flames. Not saying that's an easy life to have, but you know, it's usually that you are drawn together for specific reasons, and you know, they lasted a lifetime together, you know. So yeah, I'm really interested in these numbers and how they, you know, singly, and then how they melt together there to really make a picture of the life of somebody. And she was crowned on the 2nd of June 1953. Now there we've got a 2, a 6, and again an 18/9. So we have, when we add it together, a 17, which is the star. Now that's a wonderful one to have, because the star in the tarot, or even in this book here, is a healing number. It's a very spiritual number as well. And she was crowned on that day, and so her lifetime would have been very spiritual, you know, as the queen. And we know her to use a lot of religiousness in any occasions. You know, there was a lot of religiousness going on there, and that was to do with the actual crown itself. But I do believe she was quite a religious person. That being said, you know, it doesn't have to be religion that equates to healing and spiritual, you know. But also in the 17, you know, when she was crowned, the number 7 was in there again. The 16/7 obviously 16 breaks down to a 7, so there's an awful lot of 7s in her numbers in life. And again, I want to say now, she was on the throne for 70 years, 707. You know, that 7 came up an awful lot in her lifetime. She actually died on the 8th of September 2022, and that added up to a 23-5. Now this one is in the book The Royal Star of the Lion. So we've got, this star is present during difficult times and is a karmic reward number. So she died with a karmic reward there, and releasing all karma from her, and probably rewarded by peace, you know, because of the fact that she'd, you know, stood and been enlightened and led her best life, so to speak. And also the Royal Star of the Lion is help, protection from those in high places, perhaps God and Spirit on her way out, you know, into the next life. She was blessed with abundant grace as she passed. So that's what I feel that kind of means, to do with her death, you know, and the numbers there. So you've got an 8, a 9 and a 6. And also a 5. The 23 becomes a 5, so she becomes free when she passes on. So because that's freedom, you know. And I feel that even though she loved being the queen, she loved her life and did it to the best of her ability, she was thrown into it and she just got on with it and did it. I feel that she wanted some sort of freedom from being watched and seen all the time. I feel that now, you know, she's in that place where she's got that freedom, where she's not being watched all the time. Although I do feel that she's very much watching everybody else, especially in her family, from the other side. I can imagine that she is prompting them as well. She's or at least a spirit guide to quite a few of them is what I'm feeling to say there as well. This is just intuitive of me. Yeah, I do feel that she's there trying to whisper in their ear and give them a bit of a nudge every now and then when she feels that they need it in some way. And maybe that's as the queen, as she would have been, but also as a guide that is one step away, knowing what their life path and their aims as a soul is. You know, she would be looking at it from a different perspective on the other side. So yeah, that's just a little bit of the spirituality side of it. Also, as she became queen, she was Queen Elizabeth II. So I added up the numbers in her, you know, in Queen Elizabeth II. And we got 22 for the Queen, we got 33 for Elizabeth, and we got 2, but it's always put in Roman numerals, which looks like an 11. So we have an 11, a 22 and a 33, and guess what? They're all master numbers. So wow. 11, 22, 33. I've got tingles all over. That's, you know, that was meant to be, absolutely meant to be. Adds up to a 66, obviously another master number because it's addition of master numbers. And the 6, and the 6 again is service, service and service. Family, country, charity. You know, she was very much in service all of her life. And, you know, obviously the queen, before she was queen, so this queen, just Queen Elizabeth II name just brought on all that service, you know. So that's a bit amazing. The 6 and the 6 add to a 12, which adds to a 3. So again, the 3, she brought her best fun and laughter in lots of situations. You can't go through life being, you know, unserious all of it, but, you know, where she could, she brought laughter and fun, is what I feel to say there as well. So I've loved doing this numerology on the Queen, and what a wonderful life and what wonderful numbers as well. I am going to do some more numerology on other well-known people too. And also I want to say, if you've liked this video and watched it till the end, that's brilliant, thank you. Please like, subscribe and share and follow and all. But also watch out for some more of these to come. Thank you so much, love doing it. Much love to you all. Bye.